Hey Rebels, my name is Matthew Barton. Welcome to the Rebellion Brewing Podcast. Warehouse Brewing is a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Rebellion taproom, and they're putting out a whole bunch of brand new beers for summer. They're also one of the locations for this summer's Hop Circuit Beer Tour, launching in a few weeks. Brewmaster Mederic Lanoix joins me to talk about what they're up to. So let's get into it. Mederic, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Just waiting for this snow to go away and the wind to quit blowing so much. How's your spring? How's your summer looking?
Well, spring is windy. Definitely. I think everybody has noticed. Definitely could be better, but could be worse. But things are looking really good for summer. I think patio season, everybody is just aching to get at her.
When I think about Warehouse, I often think of like that warm wood texture, the nice brick layout. What are some of the things people can expect from you guys coming into 2022?
Well, more of that awesome woody feeling, the wood patio, that very welcoming atmosphere we provide. We are working on new menu items. So something exciting to look forward to if you come and enjoy a meal in the tap room. Some delicious beers that are coming up. We just released a few this spring, and we are going to hit the trade shows pretty hard this summer. It's going to be the first time we go to trade shows as a company, so pretty exciting stuff.
I know that for you guys, pandemic kind of happened about 2 weeks after you opened your doors, and it's been that stretch of time. But now it feels like here's an opportunity to reintroduce ourselves and for you to reintroduce yourselves to the beer drinking public. What kind of beers, what kind of vibe can they expect from you?
Well, so I'm German trained. I went and did my professional training in Germany because those are the styles that are the closest to my heart. And though we are not specialized in only brewing German styles, I like to think that, our small contribution to the beer industry in Saskatchewan is bringing some of those old world beer styles in Saskatchewan and, giving them the proper attention they deserve, because beer, it's not always has to be about IPAs, although they're very good. The beer world is vast, and I think a lot of people have forgotten about the more classic beer styles.
What's been working for you? What beers are really taking off?
Well, there's a few. Of course, our core lineup has always been, the Anonymous Tip IPA, the Queen City Kolsch, the Sask Harvest Lager. Those sell on a consistent basis. They're always good sellers. But we released at the beginning of the year Shift Over Light Lager, so a light lager to directly compete against the big domestic brands. So it's a craft version of a lighter tasting beer, lighter texture beer. And then, of course, Regina especially is like super enthusiastic about hazy IPAs, fruited sours. Those have all worked really well.
Nice. You mentioned that you were training in Europe. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I did my actual beer education after 8 years of professional brewing in a company in Quebec. I decided to join the VLB Institute in Berlin, Germany, which is a historical institute solely dedicated to the arts of fermentation and brewing. So when there, it's an accelerated course that is geared towards professionals that are already in the industry. So you need to have a solid baggage going into it because it's an advanced course. It was great. Got to meet a lot of people from all over the world. I highly recommend it if you're looking into doing something like that. It's probably been the best 6 months of my life.
And then you come here, you come to Regina. How did that work? Like, because you're in Europe, you're in Quebec. How did you end up here?
Well, coming back from the course, summer of 2019, I had the opportunity to go back to my old job, but it was a production brewer's position, and I felt like I wanted to do something more with my career. I wanted to have a say in the creative process of beer creation. So I started looking at opportunities to get a home head brewer's position, where I get to decide and call the shots. And I started looking a bit in Quebec, but I really wanted to keep on traveling. And I mostly did my job hunting outside of Quebec. And when Regina presented me with the opportunity to come here and work at the Weston's Bakery, I immediately fell in love with the building, and I decided to go ahead.
We often talk about how brewing is a bit of an art, a bit of a science, and there's a kind of madness in trying to control the living, breathing product that is beer on the outside. But I also like to go back to the very roots of the people who are brewing and saying, what was the first beer that got you? What was the first beer that you said, oh, I really dig this beer thing?
Well, the love of beer for me came about in 2007. I'd say is when I bought my first home brewer's kit just to kind of try it out as a hobby, and it was fun. But when I discovered Czech lagers, premium Czech lagers, is when something clicked in my mind, and I really fell in love with fuller textured beers that were also very easy drinking, and that were not the standard high production lagers that are produced here. It just opened my mind to something that was different and very high quality, and that's when I decided, okay, I really must orient my career towards the brewing industry.
One of the things that we were able to kind of try out just last week was your brand new honey beer. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's a honey ale, so there's a portion of honey added to a normal brew. So it is a sort of hybrid between a mead and a standard ale. The honey adds a sort of very nice finish. It's not overly sweet, but there is this underlying sweetness and the character of the honey that comes through. The bitterness content is quite low, just to have a balanced flavor, but so as not to cover the honey character. We sourced our honey out of an apiary in Francis, Saskatchewan. It's called Keller's Be Happy Honey, and their product is fantastic. So we are very, very happy with the end result.
What kind of honey is it? Is it a canola honey, really floral, or is it maybe a little more grainy? What kind is it?
That's a good question. Actually, I didn't research it too much. I just wanted to source out a honey and a local honey. So when I found this farm, I just asked them to sell me 150 pounds of honey and bought it without looking too much into it.
When I got to taste it, you mentioned the sweetness. And I would like to say, like, it wasn't very sweet, which I liked, because I felt if it's too sweet, I can't have a second, because I'm going to get a stomach ache. My sweet tooth is going to fall out of my head. I like very restrained sweet character. Was that intentional?
Absolutely. For me, it's always been my mission to produce balanced beer. So even in our higher IBU beers, I always kind of dial it back a bit to what most other craft brewers do, just because I like more balanced flavors. Overly sweet beer is just as disgusting to me that overly bitter beers. You need to appeal to a large audience, and that's how you get people that are not interested in craft beer to try it and like it. And then you can move on to something a bit more funky.
Oh, and when I think back to your talking about Czech beers, they're not known for being especially sweet.
No, absolutely not. But at the same time, they're not known for being especially bitter either. It's that art of producing a very pleasant, balanced taste between the malty sweetness and the bitter hoppiness that I think the Czech have really dialed in, and that I've appreciated. And I'm trying to kind of bring that here on this market.
Everyone I've talked to who's been to Czechoslovakia had those Czech beers. They rave about them, and they miss them. They just can't get over how much they love that style. It sounds like you kind of mind that same vein.
Yeah, the Czech beers, the traditional way of brewing is by decoction. So for people who don't know, it's a kind of a mashing technique where you retain much more dextrins. So you have a fuller bodied beer at the end, which is something that is very special. It's a bit more work than standard infusion mashing, but it pays off immensely in the end product.
In terms of your current system, when I was looking at your guys' brew house, it feels very vertical. I see a lot of breweries, it's very spread out horizontal. Yours is very tight, compact, vertical. What are some of the challenges or benefits of having that kind of system?
Well, you want to maximize production space, the footprint basically that is dedicated to producing beer. So the higher you can go, essentially the better. If you look at very large breweries, you'll see the top of their fermenters stick out of the building several hundred feet in the air because your rent space is by the square foot. So if you can maximize the amount of beer you produce per square foot, it's just a sound business decision.
What are some of the benefits that you've noticed with your current system? Because I remember when I very first walked in there, you said you had to readjust the temperature probes, and you yourself were like making adjustments to the equipment on the fly. Like, I'm curious about that. How's that changed?
Yeah, I mean, the first time you use a system, everything that can go bad will go bad. So that's when you discover, where some probes are not properly functioning, stuff like that. There was a lot of troubleshooting to be able to solve those problems and achieve more consistency between batches of the same recipe. So now, with 2 years of experience on the system, we have kind of sorted out a lot of those details. It is a very good system. Kind of wish I had a mash tun because I need to do my mashing in our lauter tun. But it works really well. Just is a challenge to do multiple step mashing.
So it's one vessel doing multiple things at once.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, typical brewing system, you will mash into one vessel that is optimized for proper mashing and giving temperature consistency throughout the mash, and then you will transfer the entire batch to another vessel called the lauter tun that will allow you to sieve out all the liquid portion from your mash to eventually become beer. Our system combines those first two vessels into one. So it is a good thing to reduce total footprint of the system, but it poses certain challenges when it comes time, especially to do some more complex mashing schedules.
I love hearing that you had a very similar experience as our brewers. When we first opened our doors, we had to get mechanics in there all the time, and they were making little tweaks and adjustments. They were welding, and we had to order special parts, and our system had to be specifically, it's unique. There's nothing else like it. It's not like a template that you just throw into any one building. It's got its own personality and quirks, and it's finicky, and it's not automated. I don't know if people understand, but there are some brewery systems where you can just walk up to a computer, push a button and it handles the rest. Ours does not do that. It's not automated. It's very manual. And Mark said to me, I remember this about you guys very early on. He said it's going to take them, just like us, about 2 years to dial in that system. And then he goes, once that happens, look out. Then they're going to really fly. And now it's been 2 years. So did his prediction come true, do you think?
Oh, yeah. I think, understanding the system is something that really, it took that time for sure. Just knowing how it reacts, solving issues with stuck mash that were very commonplace in our first few brews. Now they're almost never happening. You're right. Every system have their own personality, and it's something that a lot of the newer system, as you said, are a bit less finicky that way. But I come from a brewery in Quebec that had the same system for 25 years, and it was a Frankenstein of a system. And I knew exactly what kind of issues was happening just by sound. It was that sort of thing. So it's something I think that any brewers that have worked with the system for a long period of time will tell you, you need to really understand its personality, because you will, if you're just introduced to it for the first time, it's very rare that you'll be able to produce a perfect batch of beer.
I love that you mentioned that, because it was about a year ago. I'm talking with Zal, one of our brewers, and the system was making like a ping noise, and he goes, "Oh, just hold on," and he goes and makes some adjustments. I'm like, "What was that?" And he goes, "Well, it was making the ping noise, so it means I had to do X, Y, Z." And then the boys are on the canning line. They're running the canning line and started making a random noise. I didn't think anything of it. And they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. And they stopped the line, and they're making all these adjustments on the fly, because they just knew once it made that noise, they had to make some alignment changes. And it was funny. It was like a third sense or extra sense that they had. I remember seeing one can started to fall off the canning feeder, and Landon didn't even look. He just put his hand out, caught it, and put it back on the feeder. Like, he had like this sixth sense behind his head, or eyeballs in the back of his head. He just catches it, puts it right back in. Didn't miss a beat. So it's funny to hear you guys have the same kind of thing.
I think it's something that any seasoned brewer that work as professional brewer can tell you, that we function by sound quite a bit, and we are able to do rapid troubleshooting just by hearing certain noises.
And that's not something they can really give you in a classroom. That's hard earned.
Well, yeah, you need to work consistently with the same system over and over for years to really understand it. It becomes almost, as your partner. You kind of develop this spidey sense.
One of the nice things is a whole bunch of people are going to be coming down to the Warehouse district this summer, and they're going to be doing the hop circuit and getting the tour and earning that glass. When people walk through your doors, what's the very first beer they should try?
Well, it depends on the drinker. We are very proud of our menu. We think it's very diverse. There's something for everyone. Of course, if you enjoy those big commercial domestic beers, I highly recommend you try our light lager. If you enjoy those hazies, we have currently 2 available: the Ester Hazy and the Downtime Hazy. Downtime Hazy being the newest one. And then, we have ambers, we have a stout, we have a bunch of stuff available. So really, there's something for everyone.
Deadly. If people want to find you guys online, where should they go?
Facebook and Instagram, for sure, are our main platform. So at warehouse_beer, that it's we're very easy to find. And we have the warehousebrewingcompany.com website, where you can learn more about our story.
Wow, thanks for your time today, man.
Oh, thank you so much.
Rebels. Thanks for listening today. If you have any questions or comments about this episode, be sure to join us on our brand new Facebook group page, the Rebellion Brewing Podcast. I'm proud to let you know that we're members of the Saskatchewan Podcast Network. It's a one-stop shop for tons of locally produced shows from across our province. You can find them at saskpodcastnetwork.com. I'm going to include links to all things Warehouse Brewing in the show notes. Be sure to check it out. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Untapped so you don't miss out on the latest in Sask craft beer news. Thank you for joining the Rebellion.